Diane here. Child sexual abuse is nothing new. It's been around since the dawn of time, rotting the fabric of society. Until recently, it's just been spoken of in whispers behind closed doors. But with the horrific stories of abuse coming out of exposés such as that of Mount Cashel and more recently the Me Too movement, the issue has taken its place front and center. Child sexual abuse has become pandemic, and it needs to stop. In 2006, my world blew up. My husband of 38 years was charged with child sexual abuse. He was charged with molesting a young girl over a period of several years. At first, I didn't believe it. I trusted him implicitly. But then, when the moment of his confession came, I realized I had believed the wrong person. If I could live with a predator all those years and not know it, how can any young mom or any grandparent or any leader of any organization be expected to protect a child and recognize a predator? The one thing that all child molesters have in common is that they are brilliant manipulators. They understand how convincing they need to be in order to build trust, not only with the intended victim, but with everyone surrounding the child. I will never have the chance to go back and believe that young girl when she needed to be believed. I can't undo history, but in a profound desire to honor her, I can try to change the future for other families by sharing the insight I gained at such a great cost. And so I wrote a series of booklets called Predator Proof Your Family. Melodie Bissell wrote the forewords to all of the booklets. She, with her associates, has developed Plan to Protect, a practical protection manual for children, youth, and organizations, which is now the protection plan being used in 7,500 churches, schools, associations, and daycares. Melodie says,
"A plan to protect our desire is to provide the highest standard of abuse prevention and protection for organizations servicing the vulnerable sector."
Each of the 9 booklets deals with a particular aspect of child sexual abuse. Booklet number 1 is called Why All the Fuss, and it deals with the prevalence, effects, and trends of child sexual abuse. Booklet number 2, Who is the Predator?, was written to help young moms, leaders of organizations, grandparents, and anyone who has the care of a child to be able to recognize a predator. And of course, no child molester will exhibit all of the signs common to child molesters, but through my experience and with all of my research, I have compiled a list that details the signs that are common to child molesters. And so if you see someone exhibiting a good-sized combination of these, you'll know that you need to be careful. Booklet number 3 is called Predator Proofing Our Children, and I'm going to read a short excerpt. We used to feel that we were doing our jobs as parents by hiring a decent-looking babysitter if we were going out, locking our doors at night, and generally keeping an eye on the kids at the playground, theme parks, shopping malls. But it's not enough. We have to find ways to protect our children not only from strangers we've never met, but from strangers who may live in our own homes or strangers who we've counted among our friends for many years. Protecting a child from a stranger who wants to abduct a child for the purposes of sex crimes is generally a matter of logistics, doing everything we can to make sure that the child cannot be taken. But who can be with a child 24/7? However it's managed, diligence in making sure a child is not left vulnerable is worth every effort. In this book, I outline a list of considerations important to really kick it up a notch with protecting your child. Booklet number 4 is called Predators in Pews and Pulpits. With so many stories of abuse coming out of the church, no series would be complete without focusing on this issue. How can someone call themselves a Christian or lead a church and be abusing a child? It doesn't make sense. So what's going on? Predators in pews and pulpits. Booklet number 5 is the porn factor and focuses on the connection between pornography and child sexual abuse. Study after study recounted the same progression of involvement with pornography where the photographs feed and legitimize deviant sexuality. In the case of my family, it was my ex-husband's addiction to pornography that eventually destroyed our home and the lives of the children he molested. Because of the incredible availability of pornography to our children these days, the question has to be, are you raising a predator? Child molesters don't just fall from the sky. They're raised in families, often nice families, who have good morals, good values. But if pornography takes root in a child, you may raise a person you never intended to raise. The porn factor. Booklet number 6 is called It's All About the Brain, and it takes a look at the role of the brain in child sexual abuse and restoration. Here's a brief excerpt. The fact that the brain is plastic, malleable, and can actually be changed by the instructions given by the mind gives real hope to everyone, no matter the circumstances of their lives. This means that parents of an abused child can help the child rebuild a sound mind and look towards a future of bright days. It means someone abused as a child who has lived encased in depression and suicidal thoughts can find freedom and joy in life. It means that a predator can train himself or herself to turn away from temptations to reoffend. It means there is hope on every level. Learn more in It's All About the Brain. Booklet number 7 is called When the Worst That Can Happen Has Already Happened. What do you do when your child has been abused? This booklet is all about finding healing for a child who has been abused, and here's a brief excerpt. I believe that many victims of abuse share a memory of the haunting moment when they could have prevented the abuse. If only they had screamed, run away, told someone, hit the offender, anything to have retained their sense of self. That's why they often feel the confusing guilt of complicity in the abuse. They may feel that they allowed themselves to be trapped by the hunter and fell headlong into his snare, only to find themselves used by a manipulative, selfish predator. Misunderstandings about the dynamics of abuse can take time, sometimes years, to sort through, particularly when the abuser is a member of the family. Rushing the healing process is not productive. No one but the victim can tell when it's time to take the next step to deeper understanding and truth. Find out more in When the Worst That Can Happen Has Already Happened. Booklet number 8 in the Predator Proof Your Family series is called Smart Justice, and it deals with the community and church response to convicted predators who have served their time. Here's a short excerpt. Round them all up, throw them behind bars and leave them to rot, never to see the light of day again. That's not far from the sentiments most of us have with regard to child molesters. The very thought of touching a child sexually is so abhorrent to a healthy person that we instinctively want to banish anyone who might behave in a contrary manner to our natural responses of protection toward a child. And the fact is, for violent, repeat offenders, it's a no-brainer. It stands to reason that unrepentant, sadistic child molesters need to be locked away from society where they can never again harm a child. But not all child molesters are serial sadists. The day will come when they'll get out of prison. Then they're going to want to reintegrate into our communities. So what do we do? The question has to be, how can we deal with them in the way that will most effectively protect children? We have to resist our knee-jerk reactions and go for wisdom. And this is the stuff of smart justice. Booklet 9 in the series is called The Husband I Never Knew, subtitled Carrie, the ex-wife of a child molester. This is my story. I initially wrote it as though I was interviewing someone who had been married to a child molester. I did that because I wasn't quite ready to come out as the ex-wife of a child molester, but I felt it was so important to share the insights that could protect another child. My silence was probably more to protect my family than it was to protect myself. But the reality is that silence on any level profits nothing in matters of child sexual abuse. The light needs to be shone on truth, hope, and the future, not the darkness of the past. The Predator Proof Your Family series is available not only on Amazon and through the By Design Media website, but also through Plan to Protect. To all of those who are helping to screen out the predators using the Plan to Protect program, thank you. We need to continually strive to protect our children, one child at a time. Predator-proof your family. Thanks for your time.